Oh, and good evening. It's April 28th, 2025, and we're continuing our discussion collection, our Outside the Class series. This series, from the Bible Project, covers the entire TaNaK, also known as the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. All of those source videos are available for your review. They're also on TheDustyFeet.com in the Outside the Class section. Because the intent of Outside the Class, if you'd listen to that in-class lecture first. Then we expand the conversation while still trying to keep these to about 15 minutes each. Easy to catch up on. So we are on a quest, scroll by scroll, book by book, a journey through this collection, just maybe with a fun and different twist. Our hope with the Dusty Feet is to foster discussion and to help build and support communities. If you're not already connected to a community or just want to share and interact, this community has 4 primary ways to interact. 1. TheDustyFeet.com. That's our primary place to find everything. You are always free to comment. 2. Substack. Link is in the description below. It's designed around the written and spoken text. It's a place to connect to ourselves and others. 3. Facebook @TheDustyFeet. These videos and other videos are also available for comment and discussion. 4. And as always, you're welcome to send an email to bob@TheDustyFeet.com. These places, they will be moderated and guidelines will be set to ensure healthy, safe discussion. And as always on The Dusty Feet, this is a place where we can safely explore the endless ways of God and the interconnection of His creation. Belief understandings may be challenged, divine misunderstandings may exist, and traditional teachings might falter as we pursue connection, context, and community with God and each other here in an environment of grace and love. Oh, and before we forget, if you do find these kinds of podcasts useful, please click that subscribe button. The reminders are just there to help you. But also, if you think these might be useful to others, please, that is when you click that like button, because that is how YouTube chooses to share these to more people if they wish. So in this series, right, we're going to cover the entire TaNaK, the Old Testament. We're going to do it in the original order of the Hebrew Scriptures. And also remember, the videos are going to be discussed. They're always just the tip of an iceberg. They are part of a learning series I highly recommend. And of course, all of them are available at the Bible Project. Because we're going to ask many questions about all kinds of things. Answers? We'll see. Kings, first scroll. Start part 2. So King David is literally, not to sound too casual, but he's old and cold. He's an old man. And for the king, well, they found a young Shumanite woman to keep him warm. She is with him the rest of his days, which are probably not too far away. Yet, as has been the theme of the day, it seems there are those who want to fill the void, as it were, and the next son is choosing not to wait. He wants to sit on the throne now. I've made it a point to ask, what kind of dad was King David? And it is up for discussion, right? Make it those things to ponder. But his next son in line, Adonijah, well, he chooses to make his bid to be king, and starts in verse 5. Now, Adonijah, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he prepared for himself chariots and horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. His father had never at any time reprimanded him by asking, Why have you done this and that? He was also a very handsome man, and he was born next after Absalom. So he conferred with Joab, the son of Zeruiah, and with the priest Abiathar, and they supported Adonijah. But the priest Zadok and Benaniah, son of Jehoiada, and the prophet Nathan, and Shema, and his companions, and David's own warriors, well, they did not side with Adonijah. So Adonijah, he sacrificed sheep oxen and fatted cattle by the stone at Zoheleth, which is beside En-rogel. And he invited all of his brothers, the king's sons, all the royal officials of Judah, but he did not invite the prophet Nathan, nor Benaniah, nor the warriors, or his brother Solomon. So that's the lore of movie scripts, right? Sons who want to ascend to the throne, and he finds himself with those who will align with him, right? Family, priests, warriors, and Joab. Again, he crosses a line, and I really suspect he's always after his own power, really, anyways, right? But of course, as we can see, not all are on Adonijah's guest list, because there are those who are still loyal, not only to the king, but also to the wishes of the king. They seem to remember another wish, that of Solomon. So Nathan, the prophet and advisor to the king, right, he hears of this plot, but he approaches Bathsheba. We remember her, right? And he gives her advice. It's not an order. The choice is up to you. Act on it as you will, maybe for the sake of yourself and your son's lives. But she listens as Nathan lays out a way to get the news to David to bolster it. And also, when he gets involved, he's going to maybe act as a second witness, so to speak. But this is not the only time that we get a story akin to this. There are many similar echoes. We get to the scroll of Esther, we just might hear these echoes. Keep that in mind. Put it in a box. Put it on the shelf. So Nathan, here's his plan. And his visit. Okay. Starts in verse 11. Then Nathan said to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, have you not heard that Adonijah, the son of Haggith, has become king, and now Lord King David does not know it? Now, therefore, let me give you advice so that you may save your own life and the life of your son Solomon. Go in at once to the king David and say to him, did you not, my lord the king, swear to your servant, saying, your son Solomon shall succeed me as king, and he shall sit on my throne? Then why is Adonijah king? Then, while you're still there speaking with the king, I will come in after you, and I'm going to confirm your words. So Bathsheba went to the king in his room, and the king was very old. Abishag the Shunammite was attending the king, and Bathsheba bowed, did obeisance to the king. And the king said, what do you wish? She said to him, my lord, you swore to your servant by the Lord your God, saying, your son Solomon shall succeed me as king, and he shall sit on my throne. But now, suddenly, Adonijah has become king, though you, my lord the king, well, you do not know it. He has sacrificed oxen, fatted cattle, and sheep in abundance, right? And they has invited all the children of the king, the priest Abiathar, Joab, the commander of the army, but your servant Solomon, well, he has not been invited. But you, my lord the king, the eyes of all Israel are on you to tell them who shall sit on the throne of my lord the king after him. Otherwise it shall come to pass, when my lord the king sleeps with his ancestors, that my son Solomon and I will be counted offenders. While she was still speaking with the king, the prophet Nathan came in. And the king was told, here is the prophet Nathan. And when he came in before the king, he did obeisance to the king with his face to the ground. And Nathan said, my lord the king, you have said, Adonijah shall succeed me as king, and he shall sit on my throne. For today he has gone down and has sacrificed oxen, fatted cattle, and sheep in abundance, and has invited all the king's children, Joab, the commander of the army, and the priest Abiathar, who are now eating and drinking before him and saying, Long live King Adonijah. But he did not invite me, your servant, and the priest Zadok, and Benaniah, the son of Jehoiada, and your servant Solomon. Has this thing been brought about by my lord the king? And you have not let your servants know who shall sit on the throne of my lord the king after him? The story, which appears not to have reached the king's ears, as Nathan seems to be explaining. This is definitely not the first time that we've heard anything about, subversive behavior or activity that hasn't reached the king's ears. I think it just seems to ask more questions about the people we surround ourselves with. But now the king will need to do something. You do either one, let it go as it is, which they've mentioned, or two, to put on one last show of the will of the king. He needs to act. And it's quick, and it's decisive, and all the necessary folks are there. The king's official stamp of approval will be here. Okay? Starts in verse 28. And King David answered, Summon Bathsheba to me. So she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king swore, saying, As the Lord lives, who has saved my life from every adversity, as I swore to you by the Lord, the God of Israel, your son Solomon shall succeed me as king, and he shall sit on my throne in my place. So I will do this day. Then Bathsheba bowed with her face to the ground and did obeisance to the king and said, May my lord King David live forever. And then King David said, Summon to me the priest Zadok, the prophet Nathan, Benaniah, son of Jehoiada. When they came before the king said to them, Take with you the servants of your lord, and have my son Solomon ride on my own mule. Bring him down to Gihon. There let the priest Zadok and the prophet Nathan anoint him king over Israel. Then blow the trumpet and say, Long live King Solomon! And you shall go up following him. Let him enter, sit on my throne, and he shall be king in my place. For I have appointed him to be ruler over Israel and over Judah. So Benadiah, son of Jehoiada, answered the king and said, Amen. May the Lord, the God of my lord the king, so ordain. And as the Lord has been with my lord the king, so may he be with Solomon, and make his throne greater than that of my lord King David. So the priest Zadok, the prophet Nathan, Benadiah, son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites, well, they went down and had Solomon ride on King David's mule, led him to Gihon, and there the priest Zadok took the horn of oil from the tent and anointed Solomon. Then they blew the trumpet, and all the people said, Long live King Solomon. And all the people went out following him. They were playing pipes, rejoicing with great joy, so that the earth quaked at their noise. So we see the end of King David's reign. Kind of sudden. The coronation of his son Solomon. Kind of sudden. And then the ensuing celebration. And well, it caused quite a racket because it literally, well, let's just say it shook the place up. So now we are on a collision course. And next week, well, we're going to be at the crossroad. Because the supporters of Solomon and Adonijah, where they're going to meet. right? And Adonijah, well, he does the equivalent of running to a safe spot and saying, "Ollie, ollie, oxen, free, free, free." And here, that can be translated as, "I'm not coming out until you promise not to kill me." Should be interesting. We will see. So thanks for with us tonight as we've really now begun to explore this first scroll of Kings. It's interesting on the Dusty Feet.